Good evening everyone, and welcome to the December regular meeting of the Waratah Wynyard Council, and I declare the meeting open at 6:06. And I wish to advise that welcome everyone present, councillors, staff and members of the gallery, and advise that the meeting will be digitally recorded in accordance with the council policy GOV.017, digital recording of council meetings to record meetings of council to assist in the preparation of minutes and to allow live streaming of council meetings. Acknowledgement of country. I would also like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Tomagina people, and to pay our respect to those that have passed before us, their history and their culture. In attendance tonight, we have one apology, Councillor Fairbrother. Leave of absence previously approved or nil. Confirmation of the minutes of our previous meeting. Item 2.1 on the agenda. Would someone like to move that, please?
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyan moved.
Yeah, second that, Mayor.
Councillor Brammy seconded. Order is that any corrections are to be identified and agreed at this point prior to taking a vote to adopt the minutes. Are they agreed to be correct, or are there any alterations? Nil. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Declarations of interest. Is there any councillor or staff member with an item on the agenda tonight that they have an interest in, that they wish to declare? Nil. Councillors' announcements and reports. Announcements by the Mayor. I don't generally have anything to say, but I would like to mention that the 150-year celebrations at Waratah was a wonderful success, and I'd like to thank all the Smith family relatives, the Smith family descendants, and the council and the members of the Waratah community that were involved in staging a great weekend. I'd like to thank them very much. It was one event to be remembered, and ongoing from that, I went to Waratah Sunday, and we buried a time capsule in the wishing well in front of the museum. That time capsule is expected to be dug up in 50 years' time, so I wish them well. That's about it from me. The Mayor's communications there, events that I've attended in the last period of time from the last general meeting. Any questions on those before move that they be received? No. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder, please.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyan moved. Second. Councillor Hyland seconded. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Notification of council workshops. The council note the following workshops. Councillors' attendance. 4 points. Sorry. Reports by delegates. We've got nil received, but at the moment in the meeting, Deputy Mayor Dunn, you have to report.
Yes, just very briefly, Mr Mayor. The list is on the screen of all the items that I have listed as attending, and I do reinforce exactly what you said about Waratah, but also the 2021 Sustainable Communities Awards presentation. I think that Waratah Wynyard Council should be proud of their achievements in terms of some of the awards that we won. We won our category, so well done, Waratah Wynyard.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Dunyan. I'm sorry I missed that. Item 4.4, notification of council workshops, the councillor attendance records. Someone like to move on those, please?
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyan. Councillor Brammy seconded. Any queries, any questions, any comment? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Item 5.1, responses to council questions taken on notice from previous meeting, public questions, and we work our way down and we get to public questions without notice and public statements received in writing. Public statements without notice. And before I invite people to what we have received tonight to be presented, I'd wish to read this. Read to be the council encourages community participation in its meetings through the community and the opportunity for public questions and statements. Consistent with council core values, councillors and staff strive to ensure all people are treated with courtesy, fairness, dignity and respect, and we expect our residents and ratepayers to apply similar standards in their dealings with council. As Mayor, it is my responsibility to maintain the orderly conduct of council meetings and determine whether a question or statement is out of order due to unforeseen use of offensive, objectionable or defamatory expressions. I know members of the public will show consideration and courtesy in their comments. Thank you. So, public statements without notice. To begin with Mr. GM, we've got Mr. Hutchison, you have 2 statements to make. Would you care to come forward with those, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Didn't have any questions, but I just had a quick question in the back of my mind. Why does this council have 8 councillors when the Circular Head Council has 9 councillors?
Yeah. It was a decision by the Local Government Association to reduce the numbers of councillors, and Waratah Wynyard was considered 8 would be adequate.
Yeah, no, that's right. I just been looking at the numbers around the state, and that just was curious to me, so thank you for that response. I've got a couple of things to say tonight. Obviously I wasn't at the last meeting, so I've probably got a bit more to say than what I normally have, but I'll try and keep it brief. I'm just going to read to you the Waratah Wynyard Council Code of Conduct, just for the benefit of all councillors, present and not present. Part 3, use of the office. 1, the actions of a councillor must not bring the council or the office of councillor into disrepute. Part 2, a councillor must not take advantage or seek to take advantage of his or her office or status to improperly influence others in order to gain an undue, improper, unauthorised or unfair benefit or detriment for himself or herself or any other person or body. Part 7, relationships with the community, councillors and council employees. A councillor A must treat all persons fairly, B must not cause any reasonable person offence or embarrassment, and C must not bully or harass any person. And Part 8, representation, in subsection 7 it says the personal conduct of a councillor must not reflect or have the potential to reflect adversely on the reputation of the council. Also in the Local Government Act 1993, section 28, functions of councillors, subsection 1, a councillor in the capacity of an individual councillor has the following functions: A, to represent the community, B, to act in the best interests of the community, and it goes on. And Schedule 5 of the Local Government Act, Office of Councillors and Members of Local Committees, subsection 2, 1D, the office of a councillor becomes vacant if the councillor is removed from office by the Minister under subclause 2, or the Minister may only remove a councillor from office if the councillor A is absent without leave for 3 consecutive ordinary meetings of council, or is E, undergoing a term of imprisonment, or F, has been sentenced for any crime and the sentence has not been executed. For the majority of 2021, there has been an elephant in the room, and these are the very real community concerns about the personal conduct of at least one current sitting councillor at the Waratah Wynyard Council. So I wonder, regardless of the substance of the allegations made and the charges laid in ongoing court hearings, has a breach of the code of conduct occurred? Whilst newspaper reporting can be sensationalist and often unfair, there is no escaping reality, and that a fortnight ago the Advocate and the Mercury newspapers have published some publishing allegations about Councillor Fairbrother. I reserve my judgment until the magistrate hands down a decision, but in the meantime, despite my suggestions to Councillor Fairbrother to consider taking a period of leave or stepping aside pending the outcome of this highly publicised case, he still remains in a role within the council. I don't want him to misperceive my comments. I think Councillor Fairbrother performs the role of decision maker around the table well. However, the role of a councillor is not just the performance on council meeting night, but in all public domains, online or in public spaces. Serious allegations have been directed at Councillor Fairbrother, and I hope that in light of this, he can consider a way to manage this without bringing further the council into disrepute for his own sake and for the sake of this municipality. That's all I have to say on that part. In response to the Cam River reserve plan around the boat playground, I'm glad to see that the council polling the community on this issue, and hopefully the community will be heard in this instance. I noticed that the loo with a view concept is up for discussion tonight. I'm a bit baffled as to why the council keeps flogging this dead horse, but if any councillors are concerned about where money might come from for the Aldina Reserve, maybe just build a generic toilet on Table Cape and save yourself 100 grand. Maybe we could have a toilet in both locations. Look at more sustainable toilet options that don't have ridiculous price tags, so more places become accessible to the community. There are a number of things said at the last council meeting in regards to the Aldina Reserve, and whilst I wouldn't want to dwell on them for too long, there are a few things that caught my attention. Deputy Mayor Dunham said the proponent of this motion in regards to the Aldina Reserve community meeting categorically and somewhat disrespectfully to the council stated that STT do not want this site, which was obviously an inaccurate statement, clear from the response to my questions to the GM that this reserve is in the ownership and management of STT, and ideas regarding the site should be directed solely to them. Now, I might have exaggerated the point that they don't want it. That was more for hyperbole. But in the context of what I did say, that they have communicated that they don't want the land, they don't want to manage it, they don't care about it, they've been working with the council to palm it off, they don't want it, they couldn't care less about it. So in the context of that statement, all I was trying to suggest is that they don't want the management of the space. And I actually had a call from Emma Barker, who works for the Sustainable Timber Tasmania, and they've actually stated to me that they are quite happy to provide the lease to a community organisation or the council. And she did concur with what Councillor Bradley did say in response to you at the last council meeting, and that is that in the past, Sustainable Timber Tasmania, or Forestry as it was then, did offer it to the council. The details weren't discussed, but that needs to be put on the record because neither the General Manager or the Mayor had a response to me at the annual general meeting. So I just wanted to communicate that. And Councillor Hyland made some statements. I won't call them offensive, but they probably were a little bit misguided. Just for some background, Councillor Hyland has never responded to any text messages, any email, never bothered to call me or find out what I was trying to do with the motion. You can laugh all you want, Councillor Hyland, but that's the truth. Didn't actually acknowledge that I have been trying to find out what is happening with the Aldina Reserve and what stage is at, and if anything was going to happen, and had the gall to tell me, well, I wasn't here, that I should come and find out what's actually going on before I put foot in mouth. Pretty suggestive comments there. Well, after all the questions and motions discussion and the email to the General Manager I sent on Friday, asking what's happening, finally a call at 4:30 tonight with a conversation about what is going on, a conversation that the General Manager acknowledged he didn't want to put into the public realm just yet, and I understood that. So there clearly are levels of access to knowledge, and just because you and others are in the know doesn't mean the public has the same access. So this is the chief issue I have with the way the council operates. Now, I call it secrecy, you might call it a different name. The community needs to actually find out what's going on, so it's not left in the dark. Yes, there are processes, but to accuse me of not trying to find out or not knowing is actually pretty frustrating. So it is lucky for you, Kevin, because I had a few more choice words for you tonight until the GM gave me a ring. So credit where credit is due. Well done to the General Manager, and appreciate if you could acknowledge what I'm trying to do, like other councillors did on the last council meeting. I mean, we could talk all night on the issue, but I'm glad that this council is have the initiative to actually work in this space, where previous general managers and councillors were too afraid to work when forestry offered this space. So I really hope that the community and the council can achieve a really positive outcome in the medium to long term. I'll leave it there for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchison. And we have a question here from a lady, Tracy J. I'm sorry I didn't. Would you like to come forward with your question, please?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've just got to put the socks to one side.
Good on you.
I'm Tracy Jones. I'm new to the district. I have a simple, boring question. Is there any particular reason why all householders have rubbish bins of 240 litres? My reason for asking is I've moved from Sorel, where all householders have an 80-litre bin unless they ask for a larger bin, and therefore their rates every year are predicated upon the size of the rubbish bin they have. Just a plain curiosity. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. GM, who would like to answer that question?
I'll give it a try, Mr. Mayor. Look, certainly the size of the bins, the frequency of the collection, and the associated charges that comes along with the size of those bins and those collections is something that council can dictate and set themselves. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest, the precise reason why we have the 240-litre bins over other options. That's obviously something that's been in place for quite some time. But those discussions around what is the right mix in terms of frequency, collection, rural, urban, is something that the council discusses on a regular basis. So I'm happy to provide you a more detailed response in writing via the email, but it is certainly something that council looks at on a regular basis.
Could I follow up by saying that from January onwards, give me a little bin? I don't need a big bin.
What's your address, Mrs. Jones?
Sorry?
What's your address?
It's written on there.
Oh, sorry. I didn't read the information, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we now move on to Planning Authority items, and at this stage at 6:24, 6:24, we are moving into Planning Authority, and we're open for public questions regarding planning items and public statements regarding planning items, of which we have nil. So we will move on to item 6.3, which is a replacement bridge and associated work with the Cam River at Somerset. And prior to taking this on board, our planning officer, Mr. Thornton, has an adjustment to explain to us. Over to you, Mr. Thornton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just an amendment to some conditions. Need some, I guess, further detail in condition 5 and condition 7. Those conditions related to works that would become council assets in the future, not all works for the proposed bridge. Yep. That was the intention, but it wasn't clear in the condition as written. So we've already got the wording up on the screen there. So in condition 5, after the word computations, adding the words for the works that will become council assets, and then similarly for condition 7, after the words civil works, again, that will become council assets. Just to clarify that that's limited to that scope, not
Yep.
the whole kit and caboodle.
Thank you very much for that. Now we'll move on to addressing item 6.3, recommendation there?
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Duniam moved. I was just waiting on a seconder.
No, not from me. I just wanted some questions.
Okay.
I'll second.
Councillor Hyland seconded. Okay, we're open for debate or questions. Questions, Councillor
Yeah,
Bramish.
I don't totally understand what it means at council asset. What will be the council assets? The approaches to the bridge, or the bridge, or the footpath, or what? I don't understand that.
Thanks, Councillor Bramish. Mr GM, which member of our crew would like to address that? Ashley, Mr Thornton.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and Corey, you can pull me up from going off script here. By and large, it will be footpaths that join up with our existing networks. So yeah, pretty much footpaths would be part of that.
Footpaths on the bridge, or just the footpath to the bridge?
Corey,
It'll be the footpath to the bridge and the underpass under the bridge.
Thank you. Yep, happy with that.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Duniam, you wish to speak to the motion to open the debate?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Okay, you're away.
This is rather exciting as a resident of Somerset. It's been a long time coming. There have been a lot of issues raised around the bridge, and I need to say that issues raised by representatives are valid, but it should be noted that the Department of State Growth and DPIPWE are responsible for design and location of this bridge. One can only hope that this new bridge will accommodate the increasing volume of traffic, as well as provide free carriageway for emergency vehicles, and that's the police, fire, ambulance and SES, between Burnie and Waratah Wynyard municipalities. This has been a significant concern of mine in the past, and I ask councillors now to support this recommendation.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Duniam. Any further speakers? No further speakers. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. We have one more planning item, which is 6.4, and it's the retrospective gazebo approval at 13 Moore Street, Boat Harbour Beach. We have a recommendation there, councillors.
Yes, so moved.
Councillor Hyland moved.
I'll second that, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Duniam seconded. Any debate? Any speakers?
No.
No?
Oh, Mr Mayor, just it's one of those issues, I think, where sometimes I think it's an oversight. People still think they probably construct something that there's not too much work in. It's not huge, and probably that they can get away with it. But at the end of the day, and it does, I think, meets all the requirements of the planning scheme at this stage. So no problem.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Any further speakers? If not, I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. And I believe that concludes the planning session at 6:29. Matters raised by councillors. 7.1, councillors' questions taken on notice from the previous meeting. The nil. Councillors' questions received in writing. Nil. Councillors' questions without notice. Over to you, councillors. Councillor Courtney.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I've been asked by a member of the public whether we're going to have rubbish bins put on the little lookouts on the way of Old Bass Highway. We've got those two little lookouts there. Just wondering if we actually are going to put bins out there.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney.
Through Mr Mayor, the current plans don't have any allocation for bins there, but it's certainly something that councillors may wish to consider as part of the budget deliberations and have those included, but certainly not earmarked to happen in the immediate near future.
Thanks, Mr GM. Any further councillors' questions? Councillor Bramish.
Just to follow up on that, I would like to recommend that we put in next year's budget allocations for bins and tables and chairs out there. At them. them two sites, or do we need a motion for that, or can staff?
I think it'll be noted, Councillor Bramish, in the works looking forward and costed.
Thank you.
Any further councillors? Councillor Hyland, do you wish to ask it's all right. I think that concludes that. So now we'll move on to 8.1, notices of motion. Councillor Edwards, you have a notice of motion there. Would you formally like to move that?
Yeah, I'll move it as it is written.
Councillor Edwards moved.
I'll second that, Mr Mayor.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Daniel.
So the motion is for CCTV in council chambers, that council install internal CCTV as a workplace health and safety initiative into the council chambers on or before the next ordinary meeting of council in January 2022.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Do you wish to speak to the motion that you've provided?
Yeah, I'll read out what I've written. For me, it speaks for itself. It's fairly straightforward and it's long overdue. So while all council meetings are now digitally recorded, video and audio, the installation of internal CCTV in the council chambers will ensure accurate coverage of all council events and discussions at all times. I emphasise that this is our duty as councillors to provide for the health, safety and welfare of the community and to provide for the peace, order and good government of the municipal area. Equally, there must be a duty of care towards councillors in the undertaking of their duties, particularly whilst in chambers. Waratah Wynyard Council already provides CCTV coverage in council building areas and outdoor public space for the safety to assets, people and staff. Therefore, it would be remiss of council to not serve the same duty of care to our visiting constituents, staff and councillors in the council chamber space to provide optimum safety at all times.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Any further speakers? Councillor Courtney.
I support the motion by Councillor Edwards, but I'd just like to note that it won't record, voice. It won't record what's said, only what you see. Yeah.
Any further speakers? Any further comments? No speakers against? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. We move on to the reports of officers and committees, and 9.1 is the table cape amenities, and there's a recommendation there, councillors.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Daniel move.
Second, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Hyland. Any speakers for or against? Would you like to open the debate, Councillor Daniel?
Yes, if I could speak to start the debate. The background provided on page 44 clearly states that Table Cape is a highly trafficked area during the tourist season, in particular during the blooming of the tulips. It is expected that the volume of tourist traffic will increase hugely when COVID-19 restrictions are lifted to allow greater access for tourists to Tasmania. Table Cape Lighthouse is already considered an iconic tourist spot, and with the impending installation of the new light show experience, this will also increase visitor numbers and increase the demand for public amenities. The recommendations for officers to identify and action where possible external funding opportunities for the suggested iconic public amenities. A project is an opportunity that this council cannot afford to let slip through its fingers. Basically because it will improve our economic standing within Tasmania, and I think that what I'm trying to say is that it is iconic that we are doing something that really isn't seen anywhere else in Tasmania, and I do think that we really do need to work towards bringing people to our community. So I ask the council to support these recommendations.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Daniel. Any further speakers?
I'd like to speak, Mr Mayor.
Yeah, Councillor Courtney.
I'd just like to note that I know there was a lot of contention around this subject last time, and that I still believe that I personally made the right decision. I don't think we were in an economic position to have this massive asset that we were taking on at a time where we were looking at our books and the local government was being reviewed by the state government to be shut down based on our books. So I still think that the correct decision was made, and I still am uncomfortable with the loo with a view, with it being sold as a loo with a view. This area, and I mean, most people know, my grandparents are from down here. I grew up in Queensland and I came back here. I came back here because this is an amazing area. It is absolutely beautiful. Our beaches are beautiful, our rivers are beautiful. The entire municipality, right down to Waratah, is rich in history. I don't want to undersell our area by trying to become famous for a loo. I would like us, if we could, and I think this is a small request, to look at the wording and perhaps sell ourselves a little better. And if we'd like to link it to the tulips, maybe we put toilets that have got nice bright colours, and we can link it to the lighthouse. So perhaps we could call it the lighthouse lookouts and one of them be the loo. But please don't undervalue this area by making us famous for a dunny. That's all I'm asking if we're going to go forward with this project. We absolutely need toilets up there, but if we could just keep that in mind, I'd be appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Any further speakers? Councillor Highland.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, I'll have to have a go at this one. I think firstly, I think we've sort of got away from the loo. It's a destination toilet, I think. That's what they're going to call it. A destination toilet. Yes, destination toilet. And that aside, we've been looking for something in the Wynyard area for a long, long time to sort of attract people. We've got a bit of a kick in the backside with the campers, the free campers, because we're off the highway and all the trouble that we've had in town. We lost a hell of a lot of ground because everybody just bypassed Wynyard. And if you continually have a look at every statistic for the last 10 years, there's a huge difference in what we have here than what goes straight through, past us, past the back door, through to Stanley and Smithton. It's incredible, the numbers, because, we just sort of haven't had that pulling attraction. Only we do have the tulips in October. And this, with the toilet, it's not just about the loo with the view or the destination toilet. Last council meeting we passed a motion with another project which included the upgrade of all the car park area for buses. You realise there's no parking area there at all. And also the upgrade to the walking track from the lookout to the lighthouse. So it's not just about plonking a loo on the end of Table Cape. It's everything that goes with it. It's a whole package. It's a whole package. But if you do a lot of travelling around the world, everybody's got something. So we need to get there, and I think this will go a long way. And when council makes decisions like these, and I just for our gentlemen in the audience tonight that sort of is not real, obviously not up with what happens in the tourism industry and why they do things. We make decisions for everybody in our municipal area and either side of us as well. Drawing people into this area, not only do they go and have a look at our loo and have a look at our lighthouse and do that sort of thing, but if we've got 2 or 3 things, they stay overnight, and that helps every business in our community. Every business goes a long way to employing people as well. So there's a real flow-on effect. So you just don't do the obvious and build an old common toilet like we've got in every, we've had for 100 years. Let's upgrade things a little bit. Put a bit of spark in the place. Get some people into town, get the businesses going. We've got a lot of people that have spent a lot of money, even in the COVID time. And the vault down the bottom end of the street is a prime example. Everything's sort of switched on down there. We need to keep that momentum going, and that's what this council's about. That's it, Mr Mayor. I'd like everyone to support it, and let's get it rolling. We're about 12 months behind now, but anyway, we'll get on with it.
Any further speakers regarding Councillor Edwards?
Yeah, just more excited about the walking track being upgraded from the lookout to the lighthouse. In my line of work, I've worked in in schools, and I know a lot of schools go up there and travel or walk along the walking track. So I really like, I can't wait to see what the augmented reality is, or the interpret signage, and how that can be an educational part of our culture and history up there.
Thank you. Any further speakers? I guess Councillor Bramish, did you wish to speak?
Yeah, I will. I wouldn't be doing my duty if I didn't comment on this, I don't think. I will support the motion, but I don't know how we can get the community involved in this to get their opinion. And I think it might be good for tourists, but I think our community needs to have a large input on this, because at the end of the day, it's going to be their money to maintain it, even if we get grants. I don't want to sound like I'm negative to it, but I agree with what Councillor Edwards said and Councillor Courtney said, that we shouldn't just rely on a loo with a view, and Councillor Holland indicated that it's a destination loo. That's fine, but I think we've got to really put an effort in to find out whether our community supports us in supporting this and getting grants and that. I really think we've got to do that. We've been known for a council that goes out to the community. So I don't know how we do it. I guess you people might be able to work that out in having an input on that. Because depreciation for us is a major thing in our finances. But I don't want to be negative, but I will support it. But I think we've got to do a little bit more yet before we build it, in finding out what the go is with the community.
Okay, thanks Councillor Bramish. Any further councillors wish to speak? Okay, I don't know if there was anyone against it. I guess Councillor Courtney, was there going to be a division? No division? Okay, I'll put the motion then. Those in favour, please indicate. Against? Carried unanimously. Item 9.2, the Boat Harbour Beach Master Plan Annual Update. Recommendation there that note the progress of implementation of the Boat Harbour Master Plan and authorise officers to actively seek external funding for the project.
As
So
per the
moved.
recommendation, Mr Mayor.
I think Councillor Courtney beat your Deputy Mayor. So Councillor Courtney
I'll second
moved,
that.
Deputy Mayor Dunyam seconded. Any discussion?
I'd actually like to commend the people of Boat Harbour and the people on the committee that are doing a lot of the work, not on behalf of council, but are certainly pulling their own weight down there and having a really big input into this project. So I'd like to say good job to the people down at Boat Harbour that are sort of helping to drive the project.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Councillor Dunyam, did you wish to speak? Okay. Any further speakers? If not, I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Item 9.3, the Destination Action Plan Annual Update. That Council notes the final update report from the Wynyard Destination Action Plan. For the Wynyard Destination Action Plan.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyam moved.
I'll second that.
Councillor Edwards seconded. Any speakers? For or against? Do you wish to open the debate, Councillor Dunyam?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Okay. Anyone wish to speak? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. We move to item 9.4, the annual update of Council Natural Resource Management and Weed Management activities. That the Council note the annual update of Natural Resource Management activity, including weed management. It's all there. We have a move and a seconder, please.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyam. Councillor Hyland seconded. Any speakers?
Mr Mayor, I think it's fairly clear. It clearly outlines that the shared NRM officer actively participates with community and working groups across the region to ensure that environmental values and weed management are coordinated appropriately. It is also noted that weeds such as foxglove and broom and others are a significant issue, and that education across communities is paramount in not just managing but eradicating these so-called pretty garden plants. I ask the councillors to support the motion.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any further speakers? Councillor Bremish.
Just briefly, Mayor, I'll agree with the mover and the seconder with this motion. And at the weekend, I drove through about 3 different municipalities, and they're all the same. Our place is no worse than any other municipality. I guess the weeds change from year to year in what comes up and what doesn't come up, and yeah, it's something we need to get onto.
Thank you. Any further speakers? Councillor Highland.
Yeah, Mr Mayor. Yeah, Bill Walker should be congratulated, I think, on the work that he's done and continues to do, and particularly he's one person that actually has taken on the broom and the gorse in the town of Waratah on the vacant allotments, sourced it out, and because he had quite a number of complaints, but as you do, but willing to work with anybody, and he finally convinced them, I think, that council just don't have the reserves to get every bit of gorse in our municipality, so I think they're quite happy to see a little bit of progress other than nothing, and he took them along with him, and I think the same is happening down at Sisters Beach with the erosion and the progress that they're making down there, and the group actually can't speak highly enough of the assistance they're getting, so congratulations on a good report.
Thanks, Councillor Highland. Any further speakers before we put the motion? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Item 9.5 is the draft mobile food vendor guidelines. No recommendation there, councillors?
So moved.
Councillor Courtney.
I'll second that.
Councillor Edwards seconded. You wish to have any debate on it, Councillor Courtney?
Not debate. I'd like to say thank you very much to the General Manager and staff for, once again, we asked them, we've got vans coming to the community, what do we do, what are our rules, and again, they've just gone off and done exactly what we've asked them to do and brought forward guidelines for our mobile food vendors so they know what the rules are. And again, thank you very much for going out to community consultation. I think that this shows that we're really trying to listen to the community before making rules that they all have to abide by. So thank you to the staff for the hard work they've done on this and for responding so well when we ask you to do things. Commendable. It's been a year that has, for me, highlighted the quality of the staff that we have. So thank you very much, and a big pat on the back.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Any further speakers? Oh, Councillor Highland.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, I think it's a good thing. It'll give a few people the opportunity of a little bit of employment, and I actually know one guy started up and is going to sell ice cream, so, you know, and there'll be some spots around now. We'll the new guy at the lighthouse has continually asked about getting a coffee van in the area and different things like that, because all the people that he's had there, and they've got to continually wait for a tour, so ideal thing. And I think it'll sort of govern itself. I think they'll work out where they need to be at the right time of the day. I think it's a good thing.
Thank you. Any further speakers? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Item 9.6 is the Cradle Coast Waste Management Group Annual Report. It's there for perusal, councillors, and there's a lovely picture of our recycled filing cabinets in the front of the council chambers, and the role they play in small things that would have normally went over the tip. And at the Keep Australia Beautiful Awards, they were recognised.
So moved, please,
Oh,
Mr Mayor.
Sorry, Councillor Daniel moved. Got carried away there, did I?
I'll
Seconded.
Councillor Courtney. Yeah, but anyway, we're there, aren't we? Okay, any speakers? I'll put the motion. All in favour?
Actually, Mr Mayor,
Yep.
just quickly, I'd like to commend the fact that our ISAP plan, our environmental plan, is sort of being shown on a broader narrative here, that Cradle Coast are involved and that they're doing a waste management that's largely involved around education as well. I saw these bins down here in the council offices when I first walked in and went, oh my God, I didn't even know that you could recycle that, and I didn't know that we could divert that from landfill and send that to a specific place that it could be recycled or reused. So I think that's a pretty amazing step by this council, and good on Cradle Coast for sort of broadening the idea that we've got to reuse our waste and recycle and divert where we can.
Yep, I'd just like to touch back on where I started. No worries, Mrs. Cropper. Yeah, you can recycle your toothbrush if you want to, and if you're finished with your dentures, they can also go in there. No worries. It's pretty good. And the little batteries, hearing aid batteries and things like that. But anyway, that's another story. Okay, any further speakers? I'll put the motion. Councillor Bramish, did you wish?
Thanks, Mayor. Which one do I put my teeth in?
Oh, with the tooth.
No, seriously. Recycling's probably been the best it's ever been in regarding people are aware of what they can and can't recycle, and I think it's a big thank you to the people as well of taking up this opportunities. So I'll fully support the motion.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Item 9.7, public land disposal at Waratah. There's a recommendation there, councillors.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Daniel.
I'll second that.
Councillor Edwards seconded. Anyone wish to speak? Councillor Dunham, do you wish to open the debate?
Yes, just to start the debate, it is good financial management to consider disposal of these assets and apply our financial resources to other assets that provide greater benefit to the community. It should be noted that this council is publicly announcing its intention to dispose of this land and will advertise their intention in accordance with the Local Government Act 1993, as well as reporting the outcome of the public land disposal process to council following the 21-day objection period. This process demonstrates public transparency around the potential decision to sell this land, and I ask the councillors to support this motion.
Thank you. Any further speakers? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 9.8 is the financial report for the period ended the 30th of November 2021.
So moved.
Councillor Courtney. Councillor Hyland seconded. Any questions?
No, I'd just like to note that in the details there it clearly says that we're tracking well and that we have a favourable forecast. So thank you again to the staff for getting to the end of the year of nearly 2 years of COVID, smashing the economy, and you've walked away with us in a favourable position while neighbouring councils haven't fared as well. So thank you very much to your financial management. It's a credit to you.
Thank you. Any further speakers? No further speakers. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 9.9 is the senior management report, and recommendation is that we note that monthly senior management report.
I'll move with the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. I think it was Councillor Bramish, was it? Yeah. Okie dokie. Any questions in regarding to the report? No questions? There we go. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 9.10, the Council Legislative Authorisation and Delegations to the Building Act 2016.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Daniel. That was Councillor Courtney. Any discussion? Any speakers? Councillor Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, just very briefly, note that Schedule A on page 113 documents clearly the function or power given to the council officers against conditions or restrictions, of which there are none. So I ask the councillors to support this motion.
Thank you. Any further speakers? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Minutes of other bodies nil, and matters proposed for consideration in the closed meeting are listed. There's a recommendation there that we resolve by absolute majority that the matters listed below be considered in the closed meeting.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Daniel moved. Councillor Courtney. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? carried. And closure of the meeting to the public at 6:55. Councillor Bramish and Councillor Courtney. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against?